Before we even start, a short disclaimer. This is not a sponsored video and none of the links in the description are affiliated, and I'm not getting paid for anything here. I did receive some of these products for free, and I will note it during the video of course, but it by no means affected my opinion on those. Alright, I hope I made things clear to you. I'm Alex, welcome to the Geeks Table, and let's move on to the video. So it's summer now in Germany, and I had a chance to travel a bit and test a few accessories. Some were good, some were bad, and some could have been better. And I think it's important for me to share my opinion with you. I've divided them into 5 groups, and let's start with charging. We have lots of charging options these days, and many power bricks come with multiple ports, and well, that's handy. One could charge all their gadgets at the same time. However, if we have a laptop, then most certainly we have a pretty good charger brick already. For example, this 16-inch MacBook Pro has a whopping 140-watt charger that is top quality. Unfortunately though, it has just one USB-C port. Of course, I could charge my laptop from it and then charge my phone from the laptop, but that would degrade the MacBook's battery. And then, casually browsing Amazon, I found this fancy cable from Anker. It splits into 2 parts, so I can charge 2 devices at the same time. It supports up to 140 watts, so I can utilize my laptop charger up to its maximum. And it has this block that wisely splits the power between the devices. The cable itself is nicely built, it's braided, and it has this clip to keep 2 ends together, and the only downside is that it's only 1.2 meters long, which is approximately 4 feet. Alright, USB-C is great, but my AirPods Max are still Lightning only. And I do prefer to charge my laptop with a Magsafe to keep the Thunderbolt ports free to use. For that, I had to buy these fancy adapters, and they are okay, do their job, but they have some downsides. This Lightning one has a small screen that shows the wattage if the device is charging, and this feature actually came handy because the USB-C port is not that strong and it gets disconnected very easily, well, at least with Apple's USB-C cable, so I had to keep an eye on it to be sure that it's charging. I also stumbled across this adapter on Amazon, and it basically converts the USB-C connection to the Magsafe 3, which the latest MacBooks use. The LED works the same way as the original one, orange for charging and green for fully charged, and it was able to pass 140 watts to my laptop with no problem. The magnet is fine and works quite similar to the original Magsafe. If you pull, it will stay in place, and if you bend and pull, it will get detached. Unfortunately though, the adapter gets quite uncomfortably hot while charging the laptop. And I mean, I don't have a habit of touching the cable while it's doing its job, but the fact that it gets so hot that I can't even hold my fingers on it made me return to the good old USB-C. Let's switch to another category, and this one is called Lifestyle. And in this category I have 2 accessories from MOFT. This one was given to me, and this one I bought myself. And let's start with the bigger one. So here's the thing, I do like to carry my laptop in a sleeve. Even if I put it in a backpack, I prefer to have an extra layer of protection. And maybe it's just my bad luck, or height, but wherever I travel, all the tables are quite low for me, so I have to look down at my laptop in quite an uncomfortable angle. And once I got this laptop case, I just have fallen in love with it. First of all, up to the last stitch, it feels premium. Of course it fits my MacBook perfectly, and it even has this stretchy part, which fits the charger. And once I'm at a table, I can elevate my laptop so I shall get a more comfortable viewing angle, and my neck would say thank you. Okay, let's look at this accessory now. This is something special for me. I like handwritten notes, and even my first Android smartphone was the Galaxy Note 1, where I just loved its stylus because sometimes it's just easier to write it all down rather than to type it in. And since the iPhone still doesn't support an Apple Pencil, and I don't always have my iPad laying around, I'm quite happy to get this. It's a portable notebook on the back of the phone, so you open it like this, and you get all your notes right here. And if you know MOFT already, you know that they love bending and folding things, so they even made a foldable pen. Of course, it's not the most comfortable pen that you ever used, but hey, it's already there, so you don't need to carry another one. So now after you wrote something down, you could clip it on the side and have absolutely no fear that the phone runs out of the battery and you will lose access to the important information. Oh, and as a bonus, it still has a phone stand in it. And you know what? Because of the construction, this is the most sturdy stand among all the MOFT phone stands that I've ever used. Whenever we travel, we shoot photos and videos, so let's switch to content creation. And let's talk gimbals for a second. I did a video on DJI OM6 some time ago where I asked myself, do we still need a gimbal with all those fancy phones? If you're interested, the link will be in the right corner of your screen and in the description. And recently, I was given this gimbal, Hohem iSteady V3. And let's be honest, it's so hard to bring something new to the gimbal market, because it seems that we've seen it all, but somehow they've managed. And this device is similar, yet quite different from what DJI offers. I can attach any tripod to the gimbal, of course, it has the necessary cold shoe for that. But in case I forget to bring a tripod along, it has this tiny one built in. That's so smart. So you pull it out like this and you're good to go. Or better to say, you're good to stay. Also, unlike DJI, this control module can be taken off. And now this becomes a remote control. This can be very useful if you're traveling alone or trying to shoot yourself from a distance. What I was not expecting is the difference in the moving angle. Just look at this. Kinda speaks for itself. I also had a video on this DJI phone clamp that adds extra light to the setup, and this gimbal from Hohem has it as well. But where DJI's phone clamp had all the controls on itself, this one attaches on the side like this, and you can control it directly from the gimbal by turning the wheel. It also has this little camera sensor with image recognition functionality, which they call an AI module, because of course they do. It allows content creators to control the recording and make the gimbal to follow them by using gestures, but personally I've never found it useful, it's just not my type of thing. But hey, it may be useful to you. One major downside for me is that the phone is not as easily detachable as on DJI, so fingers crossed to have this in the next version. Also, they've sent me this, which may look like a huge case for wireless headphones, but actually if we open it, we'll see a pair of wireless microphones and a receiver. And it works quite simple. Basically, you attach the receiver to any USB-C phone, tablet or laptop, then pair the microphones, and then either clip them to your clothes or snap them by the magnet. By default, they will be recording the sound to the device where the receiver is attached to, but alternatively, if you have a microSD card, you can put it into these microphones and then they will be recording to the card itself without using the receiver. These microphones also have a noise cancelling mode, which is pretty good in my opinion. So now I'm talking through this microphone and I have a very noisy air conditioner in this room. So let me turn it on. Okay, now it got pretty noisy here. So let me turn on the noise cancelling. And now this is me with the air conditioner working just beside me, talking through this microphone with the noise cancelling mode on. What do you think? But if you're unhappy with the quality of the microphone and you want to elevate it, it has a microphone port here, so you may attach any wired microphone that you already have. But do note though that for some models you may need an adapter. For example, my Rode Lav mic wouldn't work without it. Okay, we've talked about a stable shot, good audio, but what about the picture itself? The iPhone 15 Pro introduced Apple Log, so now we can shoot videos in a new format that may look desaturated. That's the right way to do, because we're going to color grade it later. Because we shoot 24 frames per second, we need to set the shutter speed to 1/48 of a second. And also, to get the best picture possible for iPhone 15 Pro, they recommend to set the ISO to 1250. Unfortunately, when we have this bright environment full of light, and if we set these settings like this, the picture gets completely washed out. To resolve this, we need to use ND filters that would block the extra light coming to the lens. And here this accessory comes in handy. It's a JJC Magsafe attachment, which allows us to use the existing ND filters from our cameras. And it even has this cutout that supports iPhone cases. So now I can screw in the ND filter, just a few more turns, and here I am, ready to do the professional video shooting. I can also put it on a tripod if I want to, and if I suddenly need my phone, I can easily detach it and take it away. Moving on, and the next part is the media storage. I've made quite an extensive review of different storage options, specifically for the phones, and another one for the general purpose, which you should definitely check out. The links will be in the description, of course, but today I will touch upon a few options that were not present in those videos. I was sent these two enclosures by the company called iDsonix, and both of them are USB 4 boxes. Let's start with this one. It has a metal casing, nicely built, looks solid, but it's a bit lighter than the usual aluminium SSD enclosures. So I'm not sure how much metal it actually contains, but at least it's lighter than many competitors. It's also worth pointing out that it supports only one physical size of an M.2 storage, and you'll need a screwdriver to install the SSD. I've used the same SSD to compare the iDsonix against the ACASIS, and the results you can see on the screen. The iDsonix may be not the winner here, but to be fair, the connection was stable and I could do video editing from my SSD using this box with no problems at all. However, I've noticed that this enclosure gets quite hot really quick, and I do prefer to keep my SSDs as cool as possible, so I really had high hopes for the other one. It's tool-free, no need of a screwdriver, you just press here and slide it out. It has 4 holes to support 4 different physical sizes of the SSDs, and it has a built-in fan. So all the good stuff is there, but unfortunately this device is just not well built. When using this enclosure, every 30 to 40 minutes an SSD would disconnect and then reconnect again, and that could be just a few seconds, but that's enough for DaVinci Resolve to just go full panic mode. So the company representative said that my device is from the first revision and it has some imperfections resulting in overheat. So they've suggested to add one more heat pad on the top of the SSD. Unfortunately, it didn't fix the problem. So once I pinged them again, I was asked to disassemble the case completely and applied some more thermopaste to the chip itself. And it didn't help as well. But then I realized something. The chip is over here. The SSD goes all over here, but the fan is here on the opposite side and is just too weak to cool the whole thing down. Just to compare, let's look at the ACASIS dock with the fan. The fan here is in the middle and it cools down all this area. And then when you assemble it, the coolest area goes all over the surface of the SSD. And that's how you do it properly. In that other video where I compared different storage options to use with the latest iPhones, I thought maybe I don't even need to buy a new SSD if I have one already, the Samsung T7. So then I came up with this solution where I would simply put it into a Magsafe card holder, connect it to the phone, and that's it. And the very next day after publishing that video, I saw this and I just had to buy it right away. It's a Magsafe holder made specifically for the Samsung T7 and it's made of rubber material, nothing special here, but actually the SSD gets fixed there perfectly. And also you have its upper part fully uncovered, which is good for the heat dissipation. The magnets on this thing are very strong, and if you get one of these short cables, it can even serve you as a stand while you're watching a movie. So I think it's a nice budget way to add Magsafe to your existing storage. And now let's move to the network and connectivity. This is the product that was sent to me. It's a Wi-Fi extender and it's called NewQ FileHub. This device has been around for like 5 years under a different brand, so if it looks familiar to you, that's why. But for those who doesn't know anything about it, here are the scenarios this device can help you with. Once I was in a hotel in Greece with my room being at the very end of the corridor. Needless to say that I had the weakest Wi-Fi signal possible. So I figured out that the strongest spot was near my room's entrance, so I had put this box there, and it extended the signal to the rest of my room. Another time I was in a weird co-working space in Germany, and instead of wireless access, they offered me an Ethernet cable. So I connected that cable to this NewQ box and had my Wi-Fi signal back. Or another story that I've encountered in the US. A hotel sold internet access per device, so if I wanted to connect my laptop, phone, and a tablet, I had to buy 3 access tokens. So I bought just one, authorized this extender, and then connected all of my devices to it without spending an extra penny. So everything about Wi-Fi extension works great, and if you encounter similar situations, then NewQ Extender may be for you. However, they also advertise this device for storage sharing and as a backup solution. And this is something that needs improvement. If you connect some storage to this USB-A port, which is still 2.0, and then an SD card to this card reader, which is still UHS 1, then it will copy the content of the SD card to the connected storage. And you've guessed it, it will take ages. If you have some content on the attached storage, you can access it over the Wi-Fi through their app, but if you do it with more than 2 devices at the same time, it will become ridiculously slow. And if 2 people decide to watch some 4K videos from that storage at the same time, good luck! I mean, thank goodness that the new version switched from the micro USB to the USB-C for charging, but the internals, the super basic software written ages ago, the UHS 1 card reader, the USB 2.0 port, all of this is still there and it needs to be updated. So I use it specifically for the Wi-Fi extension. Alright, the last one is a pricey one. I bought it myself on a sale, I wouldn't buy it on a full price, and it's basically a 5G modem from Netgear. You put a SIM card inside it, and it casts a Wi-Fi network so all of your devices can feast on that cellular connection. You can also connect a computer or even a network switch over the Ethernet cable and provide the cellular access to all of your local network. But the key feature for me is this one. It's an external 5G antenna that you connect to this box, and no matter whether you are in a basement or in the middle of a field or even in the darkest corner of a shopping mall, you'll get your cellular signal. Once I was in a small hotel of a small German town, and all I could get from my phone was the shameless E connection known as 2G or Edge. And then Netgear M5 plus this antenna brought the 5G back to me. So if you can get a good deal on this device and you encounter the same problems, I can't recommend it enough. Alright, so these were the travel accessories that I've tried recently, and all the links will be in the description, and as I've said in the beginning, none of them is affiliated, so it's totally up to you to decide if you wish to buy any of these products or not. I've just shared my opinion. Please hit a like and consider subscribing, and please leave a comment about what do you think about this kind of videos on this channel. It will be quite interesting for me to read. It's been Alex, and see you at the Geeks table. Bye bye!